Well, hey everybody, I've got a lot of trains in my collection and a lot of steam locomotives, but I've never had a steam locomotive with a snow plow on the front until now. Alright, so Lionel just delivered their brand new 280 Consolidation steam locomotives a few weeks ago, and most of the Consolidations that were in the catalog had a regular front with a little scale coupler down on the pilot. However, the Colorado and Southern version had a red snow plow attachment, and that was the main reason that I ordered it because, as I said in the intro, I've never had or even seen an O-scale steam locomotive with a snow plow attachment, and so, yeah, now I have one. So anyway, without further... These things are fogging up on me, I better hurry up. Without further ado, let's check out the new 280 Consolidation. All right, so here's the box. Colorado and Southern Legacy Consolidation number 641, model number 2431350, with an on-the-water date of February 28th, 2024. And for today's unboxing, from my knife collection, we'll be using this knife. This one's brand new, I just bought it. This is the Victorinox Venture Pro. So it's a beautiful knife. And then because it's a Swiss Army, you've got a fire steel there, a ballpoint pen, and of course the tweezers. Anyway, let's dig into this thing. And just in case you're wondering, here's the box tag. Colorado and Southern Legacy Consolidation number 641. Legacy and Bluetooth control, Legacy rail sounds, whistle steam, fan-driven smoke, and 031 minimum curve. Ooh. Instruction manual, always important. All right, here goes nothing. Oh, and there's that plow. This plow is the main reason that I got the Colorado and Southern, because that's just something Lionel has never done before. And check that out. That looks great. And apparently this is detachable, I believe. Looks like it's got some screws in it. We'll check it out later, but it's supposed to be detachable. But yeah, check that out. That is awesome. And we'll check out the tender. Burlington root. Very cool. Looks great. All right, so the Consolidation type steam locomotive has a 280 wheel arrangement. That means you've got 2 wheels up front, 8 drive wheels, and then 0 wheels behind that. So it's a 280. Now, the reason the 280 locomotive type is called a Consolidation, that comes from the tradition of naming a locomotive class after the first railroad to use it. And since the first American 280 was a locomotive named Consolidation that was operated by the Lehigh and Mahoney Railroad, that's where the name came from, and ever since, these were known as Consolidations. Now, the Consolidation type steam engine got its start here in the US in the mid-1860s, but they didn't really get going strong until the Pennsy Railroad made it their standard locomotive in 1875, and around the same time, the Erie Railroad began replacing a lot of its 440 locomotives with 280 Consolidations. And both of these things happened because the railroads realized that with a 280 you could move more freight for less money than with a 440, and at that point the Consolidations became the logical choice. Eventually, over 23,000 Consolidation type locomotives would be produced in the US. And because so many of these were built, that's the reason that quite a few of these are still around today in various rail museums around the country, and a few of those are even still in operating condition. So that's a bit of history on the Consolidation. Now let's talk about the Lionel model that we have here. So the new Consolidation was offered in Lionel's 2023 Volume 2 catalog, and these were delivered just a couple weeks ago here in the spring of 2024. They did 6 road names for the new Consolidation: Black River and Western number 60, Colorado and Southern number 641, which is what we have here, DMIR number 332, Grand Trunk Western number 2683, Lehigh Valley number 911, and Seaboard 900. Now the Colorado and Southern version that I have here, that's the only one in the catalog that had the detachable plow, and so that's really the main reason I got this locomotive, was because of that plow. It just looks so cool. Now, no matter which road name you get, whether you get the Colorado and Southern with the plow or any of the other road names, the retail price is the same. It's right at $900. Okay, let's get some stats on this thing. So with the plow, it's coming in right at 19.5 inches. Without the plow, 19 inches. And let's get the weight. So the locomotive comes in at 4 pounds, 8.2 ounces. The tender comes in at 2 pounds, 8.6 ounces. And the combined weight, 7 pounds, 0.9 ounces, so 7 pounds, 1 ounce. Now, in case you missed it during the unboxing, the minimum required curve for the Consolidation is 0.31, which makes this locomotive very friendly to small layouts with tight curves. And when tested, the Consolidation produced 2 pounds, 3 ounces of pulling power. And with that kind of pulling power, you should be able to pull 30 to 35 of your average O-scale cars easily. When it comes to features, the new Consolidation has pretty much everything you would expect of a modern high-end legacy steam locomotive. So that means you've got legacy command, legacy rail sounds, you've got Bluetooth on board, there's a fan-driven smoke unit for the smokestack and also for the whistle steam smoke effect. You've got all LED lighting, which includes the headlight, the backup light, the interior of the cab, and this also has the bicolor classification light feature, which is really cool. I'll show you that in just a moment. And on the interior of the cab, there's also a red glow in the firebox. All right, now I want to take just a moment to show you some close-ups of some key areas of this model, starting with the plow. Now, you can see in a close-up that the plow looks fantastic, but this is supposed to be a detachable plow, so let's see how that's done. So if I put the engine up in a cradle, here's our plow. It's got a cute little scale coupler on the front. That's nice. So there's this support bracket here. That can be pulled out of a little hole on top of the plow, and then it can also be removed up here. And then the plow itself, there's 2 screws on the back, so I'm guessing if we remove those 2 screws, the plow should come off. Let's find out. Okay, so the plow is now detached. Oh, that was easy, okay. So the whole thing just came off. There's that little support bracket I was telling you about. And then we've got the plow, and that support bracket goes in the top like that, and then the other end of it goes into this little hole on the top of the smoke box. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. Now, while we've got the plow detached, let's talk about adding a dummy O-gauge coupler to the front of this locomotive, just in case you want to double head it. Now, this is the dummy O-gauge coupler that comes in the box when you purchase the engine. And ordinarily, you would put it here on any other O-gauge locomotive. However, it doesn't fit in there, and I've discovered that if you want to double head the locomotive, you have to have the plow on. So the way this works is there's a screw, a little flathead screw right there, and we'll take that out. And you don't have to take that flathead screw out all the way. You can take it out most of the way, and that way you won't have to try to thread this tiny screw into that little hole. So we're going to remove the dummy scale coupler and put the dummy O-gauge coupler in its place, like that. And then we'll redo the screw. And there we go. So now that we've got this dummy O-gauge coupler on the front, we can double head this locomotive if we want to, but I'm going to go with the aesthetics of the dummy scale coupler and put it back the way it was, because I don't plan on putting anything on the front of this locomotive, especially with that beautiful plow on the front. Boy, I tell you, these little tiny flathead screws are so hard to work with. We'll put our dummy scale coupler back. Okay, we've got that back. So now let's put our plow back on the locomotive. I think it goes like that. Let's find out. So the other end is going to go into that hole below the headlight. And then we'll turn it over and put those little screws back in. I wouldn't recommend doing this all the time, as these screws are really small. The angles, not the best, and so if you do it over and over, you might end up stripping them. I mean, to be honest, I did it for this demonstration, but I don't plan on removing the plow after this. All right, and there we go, right back to where we started. And while we've got the locomotive in the cradle, let me go ahead and show you that we've got 3 pickup rollers down here for good center rail contact. There are 2 traction tires on the last set of drivers. And then if we pick it up, the run program switch is right here under the cab. And then on the other side, we've got the, where is it? The smoke unit on-off switch. And because these switches are located on the underside of the locomotive, that's a good indicator that this is an older tooling, because if it was something brand new, they would have those controls up on top under one of the steam or sand domes. So this is most likely an older tooling that has been redone for the 2023 Volume 2 catalog. Moving on, as I said, there's a fan-driven smoke unit for the smokestack, but it is a dual smoke unit that provides smoke not only for the smokestack, but also for the whistle steam smoke effect. And so when you load smoke fluid, you just pour the smoke fluid right down the stack, and that will provide smoke fluid not only for the smokestack, but also for the whistle steam smoke effect. Got a nice little brass bell behind that. And there's that whistle. There's a little hole underneath, and when you blow the whistle, it shoots smoke out of that hole and gives the illusion of steam shooting out of the whistle. Back on the tender, there's an opening water hatch. Now, in the past, they might have had controls under here, but these days, there's nothing there. And finally, here's a look at the underside of the tender. We've got 2 more pickup rollers, 1 per truck. There are 2 speakers for the sound system, 1 right here and 1 under this rear truck. And then right here is the sensor for the Lionel LCS sensor track, should you choose to use one. All right, the last thing we're going to do before we start this thing up is... All right, BFIMO this time around. Well, another no-brainer. It's that detachable plow on the front of this Colorado and Southern version. That is such a unique thing. I'm so glad that Lionel did it. It's so unusual and sort of outside the box of what Lionel normally does, and they really deserve some kudos for that. It's so cool. This is the only steam locomotive in my entire collection that has a plow on the front. All right, now comes the fun part. Let's go ahead and start this thing up.
Train 1 brakeman, let's get an application for continuity test. Good application, okay to release. Train 1 brakeman, we have good set, good release, good continuity on timetable train number 1. Over.
That's a roger. Good set, good release, good continuity on timetable train number 1. Out.
All right, now let's check out the whistle. This does come with a choice of 5 whistles and 5 bells. My favorite whistle is number 1, but let me know which whistle is your favorite. And now let's check out the bells. My favorite bell is number 5. Let me know which one is your favorite. Here's the cylinder steam sound. And here's the sound of water being added to the tender.
My water's full. Out.
And the sound of coal being added to the tender. As I mentioned earlier, this model does have the bicolor classification light feature, so on the locomotive you can change the classification lights between green, white, and off, and on the tender you can change them between red, white, and off. And lastly, here's a little sampling of some of the crew talk sounds.
Dispatcher, my train's made up. Am I clear? Over.
Timers are running on the plant now. You're the next move. Out.
Switchler says we've got 1 off and 3 on at the head end.
Timetable only gives us 2 minutes for this stop. I'll tend the fire. Go top off the tape.
Car knockers heading your way. Make sure everything's good.
Gonna be here a while.
Timetable has us holding here for number 9. She's running about 20 minutes late.
Gonna be running a long if we don't move on soon.
Better sense that fire while we're waiting. Gonna be a hard pull ahead. Air test is good. Ready to pull. Dispatcher, am I clear to move? Over.
You are clear to proceed. Out.
Dispatcher. See you tomorrow. Out.
All right, there you have it. Lionel's brand new 280 Consolidation. This thing is sweet, and I'm so glad I picked one of these up. Now, if you'd like to grab one for yourself, as I said earlier, the retail price, no matter which road name you get, is right at $900. Now, that is the retail price. If you go through a good Lionel dealer, you should be able to get a decent discount off that retail price. And as always, if you're looking for a good Lionel dealer, try my favorite train store, which is Legacy Station. You can find them on the web at legacystation.com or give them a call at 770-339-7780. If you'd like to support this channel, I would greatly appreciate it. That can be done through Patreon at patreon.com/ericstrains. Patreon supporters get access to all sorts of perks and benefits, and you can read about those benefits on my Patreon page. I'd like to put a big thank you out there to all of my current Patreon supporters. Your support means the world, not only to me, but to the future of this channel. And an extra super big thank you goes out to my premium tier Patreon supporters. You'll see their names at the end of this video. Lastly, if you'd like to pick up some Eric's Trains merchandise, you can check out my online store at ericstrains.com/store. You can get t-shirts and jackets and sweaters and mugs and coffee cups and all sorts of cool stuff, so feel free to check that out. Anyway, that's going to do it for now. I'm Eric Siegel. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time. To discuss this model and any other O-Gauge trains, check out the O-Gauge Railroading online forum at ogrforum.ogaugerr.com.